So today let's briefly talk about weekly versus biweekly dosing for your GLP-1 medication. If you don't know me, I'm Michelle. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I specialize in weight loss with GLP-1 medications and also helping patients balance their hormones. So typically, sorry, that's my dog. I typically start my patients off, well, I do microdosing. So we start with a once weekly small dose. I like to start very low, go very slow, and then stop as soon as the patient has their appetite suppressed, and not anymore. We don't just keep going up and up and up. I find that they have a good rate of weight loss. It's nice and slow because there's a lot of health issues that occur if you lose your weight rapidly for any reason. So typically we start with once a week. There are a couple of different occasions when we will try separating the dose and doing two a week instead of one a week. So one of those is if a patient is very sensitive to the medication and let's say they're even at a low starting dose, they're having quite a bit of nausea or fatigue or headaches, any of the common whatever side effects. So in that case, let's say they had been doing 20 units a week, then I would say, why don't you try doing 10 units and 10 units? So you would do 10 and then 3 or 4 days later do the other 10. Sometimes by doing a smaller dose more frequently, they get the good appetite suppression without the side effects. The other great time that I frequently suggest this, in particular, this happens more with the tirzepatide than the semaglutide, but it's patients that they'll tell me, at the beginning, I'll take my dose, and at the first few days, I have great appetite suppression. And then, a couple, 2 or 3 days before my next dose is due, I'm starving and eating everything. So that's normal, like as you're approaching your next dose to be getting hungrier because the medication impact is going to be waning somewhat. But for some people, that's really drastic, and they kind of undo the good they did the first few days. So that's especially more true. I see that more with tirzepatide because the half life of tirzepatide is 5 days, whereas the half life of semaglutide is 7 days. So the tirzepatide impact doesn't last quite as long as a semaglutide. So I do see this more frequently with tirzepatide. So same thing with them. Instead of, let's say they were doing whatever it is, 30 units a week, then they would do 15 and then 15. So we don't necessarily increase the dose. We just divide it and do two a week instead of one. So namely for side effects, and then for sometimes for people, it does give them better appetite control. I've seen patients where maybe they've plateaued at a weekly dose and will divide it, and sometimes that kind of helps them with that too. So those are the normal reasons where I would do a biweekly dose, and just thought I would share that. If you have any questions or comments about that, you can put them below, and I will get back to you.